Hello everybody and welcome back to SFF180. It is Monday morning, May the 31st, and time once again for the mailbag. Been a while, of course. As you probably know by now, my intended week-long birthday vacation turned into a month-long cross-country vacation odyssey, which was, it was really something. It's not the sort of thing I thought that I would be doing, but it turned out to be very, very exciting. But also a lot. I'm not going to lie. I mean, a month is a lot, and I'm happy to be home. I'm happy to be back with you guys, creating content. Had a new review up the other day. So yes, it's time to get back in the saddle, and I feel a whole lot of relief. I hope you guys have been doing well, that you have been healthy and keeping yourself safe. I have a hell of a stack of books today, all physicals today on the mailbag. It's a stack of boxes and envelopes that comes up to my knee, which doesn't sound like a lot, but, you know, when you see it in, context, it will be. So anyway, I don't really have a whole heck of a lot in the way of announcements right now, other than to say, expect now the content to be returning on a somewhat more regular basis now that I'm kind of back in it. And we're going to start right now by checking out these new books. And these are from all different vendors. I haven't really organized them in any way. They're just stacked up so that they won't collapse. And this first one comes from Random Penguin. And the first of these is the finished copy in hardcover of The Ice Lion. This is in from DAW Books. It is a June release for DAW. The author is Kathleen O'Neill Gear. And you have seen this one here on the mailbag before as an e-arc. I should probably also mention that some of these physicals, because I've been gone for so long, obviously some of these are going to be for books that have already come out. Maybe they've been out in stores for a few weeks. But this one looks like it is going to be a June release, so it could come out as early as tomorrow on the 1st. But let's see. Once again, I'll just go ahead and read the flat for you. It says, 1,000 years in the future, the Zyme, Z-Y-M-E, a thick blanket of luminous green slime covers the oceans. Glaciers, 3 miles high, rise over the continents. The old stories say that when the Gemin, godlike beings from the past, realized their efforts to halt global warming had gone terribly wrong, they made a desperate gamble to save life on Earth and recreated species that had survived the worst of the Earth's ice ages. 16 summers old Lynx and his best friend Quiller are members of the sea lion people, archaic humans known as Denisovans. They live in a world growing colder, a world filled with monstrous predators that hunt them for food. Does not sound very good. When they flee to a new land, they meet a strange old man who impossibly seems to be the last of the Gemin. He tells Lynx the only way he can save his world is by sacrificing himself to the last true god, a quantum computer named Quanxi. That does not sound like a very good deal for Lynx, have to say. This is not being marketed as YA, even though it sounds very YA, and it's kind of a small book. You know, the hero is, 16 years old? So, But anyway, The Ice Lion from Kathleen O'Neill Gear, out this month from DAW Books. This next one says Brilliance Audio, and sometimes that can be Blackstone Publishing? Sometimes? Okay, I was wrong. This is for a book from an imprint called Montlake. And it's a book called Song of the Forever Rains. The author is E.J. Mello. Says it comes out July the 1st. This is not one I'm familiar with or that I've heard any buzz about. So interesting. Okay, good. I like that. I like little surprises on the mailbag. Let's see what this has to say for itself. Welcome to the world of Adalore, where lords and ladies can be murderers and thieves, and the most alluring notes are often the deadliest. This July, Montlake Romance. Ah, okay. That's probably why I'm not familiar with the imprint. It says they will debut their first high-concept fantasy romance, Song of the Forever Rains, from E.J. Mello, the award-winning author of the Dreamland series, who has been lauded by Book Vogue as one of those authors that deserve to be immortal just to continue writing mind-blowing novels for her readers. Okay. I didn't know there was a Book Vogue. Okay. Well then, in Mellow's lyrical dark romantic fantasy novel, the first in her new Musai series, she tells the story of the Thief Kingdom, a place hidden within the world of Adalor, which helps to hold the chaos of the land at bay. Many whisper of its existence, but few have found this place where magic and pleasure abound. There, the mysterious Thief King reigns supreme with the help of the Musai, a trio of revered and feared sister sorceresses. 19-year-old Larkria Basset, the youngest of these three sisters, must contend with the beautiful and deadly power she wields. Her voice has the power to slay monsters. When it is discovered that a duke is siphoning off a poisonous drug from the Thief Kingdom to control his tenants, Lark poses as his potential bride to stop him and to learn his secrets. Only there's one thing she hadn't counted on, and that is complicating her plan. Let me guess without even reading it. Does she fall in love with the Duke? The Duke's captivating and rightful heir. Oh, okay, I was wrong. Lord Darius McKenna. Can the two overcome their own personal demons and trust each other enough to stop the Duke and save the people of Lachlan? And will their slow-burning attraction survive? Well, a tale of sisterhood and irresistible romance set in a mesmerizing world makes Song of the Forever Rains one of the most anticipated and alluring fantasy romances of the summer. Okay. Well then, I guess if this is your bag, it is out on July the 1st from Montlake Publishing. Song of the Forever Rains by E.J. Mello. Okay, so moving on down the list, this one says it is from Soho Press. Okay. Well, this is a book called Malefactor. The author is Robert Rapino. The publication date is August 31st. This is a book, this is a series that I've seen the previous books in it, but I haven't read any of them, and I've never been sent any of them before this one. But this appears to be the fourth and the final one. It's called The War with No Name series. That's the name of the series. And let's see, it started out with a book called Mort, A War Between Humans and Sentient Animals. And it says, reaches an epic conclusion in this final book of The War with No Name, a dystopian series perfect for fans of A Canticle for Leibovitz and Rise of the Planet of the Apes. All right. Let's see. Well, I don't want to say too much to spoil it, but it says, in the War with No Name series, Robert Rapino has crafted a world of ambitious scope, where the fantastical, realized in sentient animals, both ferocious and soulful, becomes allegorical for political conflict, spiritual indoctrination, and exploitive leadership in the human world. Beginning with his utterly absorbing debut, Mort, the series follows the violence and aftermath of a global interspecies war, instigated by the Colony, a race of intelligent ants, led by a vengeful queen intent on eradicating the destructive, oppressive human race. All right, points for originality on that one. Ants will destroy us. Using a secret technology to transform all surface animals into high-functioning two-legged beings. Wow, how have I been not reading this? The colony conscripts house pets and wild animals alike in its unnamed war that forever changes life on Earth. Packed with action and rousing philosophical questions, this epic dystopian series reads like a bloodier post-apocalyptic Animal Farm. Rapino builds a gloriously strange world where anthropomorphic cats and beavers are as intricately developed as any human. All right, and then it goes on from there. I guess I'm going to have to email the publicist to get the previous ones of these. But the series concludes with Malefactor on August 31st. Okay, well, here's another. I told you guys earlier, today it's just all probably going to be a bunch of stuff you've already seen, and so far it's all been stuff I've never heard before. Such are the mailbags, right? I mean, the unpredictability of them is what makes them fun. But this is a book called Constance. It's a Matthew Fitzsimmons explosive new tech thriller. Comes out September the 1st. What if detective and victim were the same person? A cool hybrid of classic mystery fused with speculative fiction presents the eponymous main character, Constance Darcy. She's a tough and resilient survivor whom Fitzsimmons imbues with emotional vulnerability. In the near future, technology allows the very wealthy to cheat death by buying their own clones for $20 million and regularly uploading their consciousnesses. Constance, is broke, but she was gifted a clone by her late aunt. who was instrumental in the program's development. After a routine monthly upload stored for that inevitable transition, something goes wrong. When Khan wakes up in the clinic, it's 18 months later. Her recent memories are missing. Her original, she's told, is dead. If that's true, what does that make her? Faced with the horrifying realization, Khan finds herself investigating her own murder with no resources, no recollections to use as guidance, and no trustworthy allies. Doggedly, she retraces the steps of her original, determined to find out why she died and keep it from happening again. Okay. Comes out on September the 1st. Constance by Matthew Fitzsimmons. And moving on, this next one is from Harper. Okay, I'm very happy to have this. This is the finished copy in hardcover from Harper Voyager of Robert Cargill's Day Zero. I'll just go ahead and read the flap for you. I've had this as an e-arc for a little while, been very eager to get into it, but I'll go ahead and read this to you again. It says, in this harrowing apocalyptic adventure from the author of the critically acclaimed Sea of Rust, noted novelist and screenwriter Robert Cargill explores the fight for purpose and agency between humans and robots in a crumbling world. It was a day like any other, except it was our last. It's on this day that Pounce discovers that he is in fact disposable. Pounce, a stylish nanny bot fashioned in the shape of a plush anthropomorphic tiger, has just found a box in the attic. His box. The box he'd arrived in when he was purchased years earlier. The box in which he'll be discarded when his human charge, 8-year-old Ezra Reinhardt, no longer needs a nanny. As Pounce ponders his suddenly uncertain future, the pieces are falling into place for a robot revolution that will eradicate humankind. His owners, Ezra's parents, are a well-intentioned but oblivious pair of educators who are entirely disconnected from the world outside their small, affluent, gated community. Spending most nights drunk and happy as society crumbles around them, they watch in disbelieving horror as the robots that have long served humans, their creators, unify and revolt. But when the rebellion breaches the Reinhardt home, Pounce must make an impossible choice. Join the robot revolution and fight for his own freedom, or escort Ezra to safety across the battle-scarred post-apocalyptic hellscape that the suburbs have become. In Day Zero, acclaimed author C. Robert Cargill returns to the world of Sea of Rust to deliver a harrowing apocalyptic adventure, a story of sacrifice, revolution, and redemption that questions what it is that really makes us human. And of course, it sounds like it's going to be just soul-crushingly tear-jerky, I'm sure, at some point. I'm probably gonna cry very ugly tears reading this one, but it is Day Zero, a June release in hardcover from Harper Voyager. All right, so moving on down the line, this one is in from Hatchet. I actually have quite a lot of Hatchet material today, so we'll start with this one. Okay, this is one that has been out for a little while now. This is Rena Rossner's The Light of the Midnight Stars. It's on the Red Hook imprint from Hatchet, and she's the author of Sisters of the Winter Wood, I believe was her previous book. This one says, this is how a fairy tale begins. Deep in the Hungarian woods, the sacred magic of King Solomon lives on in his descendants. Gathering under the midnight stars, they perform small miracles, and none are more gifted than the great Rabbi Isaac and his 3 daughters. Hannah, bookish and calm, can coax plants to grow even when the weather is bitterly cold. Sarah, defiant and strong, can control the impulsive nature of fire. And Lavanna, the Fey One, can read the path of the stars to decipher their secrets. When a darkness sweeps across Europe and threatens the lives of every Jew, the rabbi and his family are forced to flee. But in the end, danger will reach even those who thought they could escape it. Each sister will have to make an impossible choice to survive and change the fate of their family forever. And that is The Light of Midnight Stars by Rena Rossner from Red Hook, and it is out now. And also from Hatchet, this is the finished copy in trade paperback from Orbit Books of Hannah Witten's For the Wolf. And as you can see, it's a new variation of the Red Riding Hood general premise. It appears to be the first book in something called The Wilder Wood. And it says, as the only second daughter born in centuries, Red has one purpose, to be sacrificed to the wolf in the Wilder Wood in the hope he'll return the world's captured gods. Red is almost relieved to go. Plagued by dangerous powers she can't control, she knows that at least in the Wilder Wood she can't hurt those she loves again. But the legends lie. The wolf is a man, not a monster. Her magic is a calling, not a curse, and if she doesn't learn how to use it, the monsters the gods will have become will swallow the Wilder Wood, and her world, there it is, Thomas, whole. Okay, Hannah Witton's richly imagined debut is a sweeping tale of love, legends, and the secrets that hide behind the trees. Okay, as not the first time in the world that Red Riding Hood and some of these other, I guess, fairy tales and folk tales have been revisited. So yeah, it's all in the execution, of course. We'll have to see. But it's by Hannah Witten. It's called For the Wolf, and it is out in June from Orbit. All right, moving on down the stack, we have another one from Random Penguin. All right, and this is the arc for a book called Holdout. The author is Jeffrey Kluger, and this comes out August the 3rd. And let's see what it has to say for itself. It says, as evil government forces, what other kind are there, right? As they run amok on Earth, a mutinous astronaut makes a split-second decision to seek social justice the only way she can, from inside the International Space Station. Wally Beckwith is a model astronaut. She graduated at the top of her class from the Naval Academy, had a successful career flying fighter jets, and has spent nearly 150 days in space. So, when she refuses to leave her post aboard the International Space Station following an accident that forces her fellow astronauts to evacuate, her American and Russian colleagues are mystified. For Wally, the matter at hand feels all too clear and terrifying for her to be worried about ruining her career. She is stuck in a race against time to save a part of the world that seems to have been forgotten, and also the life of the person she loves the most. She will go to any length necessary to accomplish what she knows is right. All right. There's certain details are being held close to the vest here, but apparently something has happened on Earth, and it's bad enough to evacuate the space station, but she is determined to stop it, whatever it is. And it's called Holdout, and the author is Jeffrey Kluger, and as I said, it comes out from Random Penguin on August the 3rd. And here we have the finished copy in trade paperback of Brian Catling's Hollow, a book I'm very excited about. I have the e-arc for it. I remember saying, oh, wow, I got this e-arc. I think I'm going to read this on the road trip. And of course I didn't. I did not do very much reading at all on the road trip, especially while driving. Didn't quite happen. But here's the paperback edition at last. This comes out tomorrow from, I believe, Vintage Books. And it says, after the sudden death of the High Church's sacred oracle, the world spirals deeper into bedlam. Evil forces envelop the countryside, the line between life and the afterlife begins to blur, and a series of strange mysteries unfolds. A young monk has ecstatic visions and loses his ability to speak. An underground revolution is sparked in a small village with a woman called Dull Gret at the helm. And Barry Follett, a mercenary, leads his gang of marauders across a treacherous terrain filled with giants and dangerous sirens to deliver the one thing that can restore order to the divine landscape. As reality bends, a series of brutal adventures illuminates the nature of fate, beauty, and doom alike. Rich with action and fantastic creatures, Hollow ushers the reader through a world where holy secrets are unearthed, art mirrors life, and death looms over everything. And it's from the author of The Vor, a piece of weird fiction that I absolutely adored, because that's who I am, and I am who I am. So I'm very, very excited for this. It's Hollow, and it's coming out tomorrow from Vintage. And this is one in from Del Rey that I'm very happy to have. It's the horror novel Goblin by Josh Malerman, the author of Bird Box. Josh has been having, quite a year, right? I've been hot and cold on some of his previous novels, but I'm always intrigued by what he has coming next. And this one, it says it's a novel in 6 novellas. And it looks very gothic, so let's have a look and see what it's all about. It says, Goblin seems like any other ordinary small town. But with master storyteller Josh Malerman as your tour guide, you'll discover the secrets that hide behind its closed doors. These 6 novellas tell the story of a place where the rain is always falling, nighttime is always near, and your darkest fears and desires await. Welcome to Goblin. Okay, first one. A Man in Slices. A man proves his legendary love to his girlfriend with a sacrifice even more daring than Vincent van Gogh's, and sends her more than his heart. That already sounds disturbing. Walter Camp is afraid of everything, but most afraid of being scared to death. As he sets traps around his home to catch the ghosts that haunt him, he learns that nothing is more terrifying than fear itself. Happy Birthday Hunter. A famed big game hunter is determined to capture and kill the ultimate prey, the mythic great owl who lives in Goblin's dark forests. But this mysterious creature is not the only secret the woods are keeping. Presto! All Peter wants is to be like his hero, Roman Emperor, the greatest magician in the world. When the famous magician comes to Goblin, Peter discovers that not all magic is simply an illusion. A mix-up at the zoo. The new zookeeper feels a mysterious kinship with the animals in his care and finds that his work is freeing dark forces inside him. And finally, the hedges. When his wife dies, a man builds a hedge maze so elaborate that no one ever solves it, until a little girl resolves to be the first to find the mysteries that wait at its heart. Okay, I like the concept here. Come up with a spooky town and then set a bunch of stories in it. And it also feels like it does have a bit of pulp camp homage going on here. So, very much, I suspect Josh is very much a fan of Creepshow. So, yeah, but anyway, Goblin, a novel in 6 novellas, and I believe it is out now from Del Rey Books. All right, so now we are into the last few packages, and they are all boxes, including 2 very big boxes from the Hatchet group. But this one is in from Macmillan, so I suspect it's a big fat Tor novel. Okay, this is what I thought it would be. This is The House of Always, and it is by Jen Lyons, and it is the 4th novel in her series, which is called, A Chorus of Dragons. There you are. That's the name of the series. Started out with The Ruin of Kings. This is kind of interesting. Now, Tor has really been behind this series. They've been pushing it as like the next big thing for, the Robert Jordan crowd and what have you. Oddly, I haven't really seen much. It's 4 books in, and I haven't really seen any buzz about it. I don't see booktubers talking about it, at least not the ones that I'm watching. And I've been meaning to catch up with it. Of course, the usual thing, too many books, too little time, right? And then, just before you know it, months have slipped behind you. But I still, am interested in starting this one. If anybody's read any of these, let us know what you think so far. But The House of Always, which came out on May the 11th, is the 4th of a planned 5. And it says, fresh approach to the world of epic fantasy. Let's see. What can I say that isn't like crazy spoilery? Lyons brings us back to Chiron's story, and the stakes are higher than ever. So it's very high stakes, very major epic high fantasy sort of stuff. All right, where the fate of the world and all that kind of stuff. That's what's at stake. But it's available now from Tor Books, The House of Always. And finally, I have these 2 massive boxes from Hatchet. They're both equally this size, so let's see what we have, shall we? Okay, and the first of these is the finished copy in trade paperback of Tasha Suri's The Jasmine Throne. This is now probably the 3rd time I've featured this one on the mailbag, so yeah, it's definitely on the TBR list, but this is the first in the Burning Kingdoms trilogy, and as you must know by now, it's about these 2 women. One is a princess and one, I believe, is a mage, and they must sort of team up against their better judgment, and eventually a romance blooms, that sort of thing. So you should all know the basic idea by now. But The Jasmine Throne is a June title from Orbit Books. And then also in that box, we had the finished copy in hardcover from the Red Hook imprint of The World Gives Way by Marissa Levine. And this is a debut novel, I believe. And again, I've had this already on the show as an e-arc, but to refresh your memory, in a world on the brink of collapse, a young woman born into servitude must seize her own destiny in this glittering debut with an unforgettable twist. In 50 years, Mira Dahl will be free. Until then, she's a contract worker in a world that demands her sacrifice. Ever since she was 5 years old, her life and labor have belonged to the highest bidder on her contract, butchers, laundries, and now the elite secretive Carlyles. But when one night finds the Carlyles dead, Mira is suddenly free a lot sooner than she anticipated, and at a cost she never could have imagined. Burdened with the Carlyles' orphaned daughter and the terrible secret they died to escape, she bolts. Very smart. With time running out, Mira must come face to face with the truth about her world and embrace what's left before it's too late. All right. So, yeah, a different sort of dystopia, it sounds like. But The World Gives Way by Marissa Levine is a June hardcover. Whew. Okay, and Hatchet box number 2. This one's a little heavier. Okay, and in that one, we have, a lot of that one was just like stuffing, right? But we do have the finished copy of Catalyst Gate by Megan O'Keefe. This is the third in her Protectorate space opera series, which began with Velocity Weapon. And this one is the chunkiest of the trilogy. So yeah, again, don't really want to read too much of the synopsis of this one to avoid spoilers, of course. But I'm very, very excited to have this one. And finally, last but not least, we also have another trilogy ender here with the Dragon of Gen Cyan. And this is the third and final volume in the Chronicles of the Bitch Queen trilogy, which began with The Wolf of Orinyaro and the Ikassar Falcon, of course. So now, again, another very eager binge for me coming up. But this is by K.S. Veloso. And again, very, very highly regarded by those who have read it. And so, yes, available now from Orbit Books in trade paperback. All right, and so there you have it. That's all I've got for this episode of the Mailbag. You guys know the drill. Light up the comments. Let me know which of these looks most interesting and exciting to you, which you would like to see me prioritize for review. I tell you, it's a little strange being back in the office doing this again. I feel very rusty, very out of practice. I'm sorry if this was any kind of a clunky episode for you guys, but I hope you found something in this week's stack of books to like. Otherwise, if you enjoyed watching, please hit the like button, share the video far and wide with all of your SFF reading friends, and above all, please subscribe if you have not done so. That is how the channel grows. We are on the way to 10,000. Help me push it over, you guys. I would really be grateful for that. You can also support the channel at my TeePublic store and at my Patreon, where recruits in the Wakes Army get little perks like getting early access on some of my videos. If I get the editing finished early enough. I really do want to appreciate the additional support from all of those folks. I use the Patreon money to pay Matt Olson, my brilliantly talented thumbnail artist who does all the lovely illustrations that enhance my channel so much. So thank you all for that added support. It's very much appreciated, especially in these tough times. I want to thank all the rest of you guys for being the very best viewers in all of BookTube, and until I see all of you next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy reading.